Happy birthday to me. Did you read the title? I am 9 years old today. What the heck am I talking about? I have been with my multi-level marketing company, Beachbody, for 9 years as of today. Isn't that crazy? Here's what's even crazier, is that when I was approached to look into something like this, which before you tune me out, I had every thought that you're thinking, every thought you've ever thought about having a home business or an online business. I thought it. In fact, I went back and forth for like 4 hours with every question in the book. And you name it, I thought it. I have, by nature, I am a doubter. I'm not quick to jump at things. I'm not quick to jump at opportunities. 9 years ago today, I attended a live meeting where Christine Dwyer, huge shout out to you, my friend, good friend and mentor of mine, Christine. She's actually my sponsor in the Beachbody business. And I was invited to attend this meeting. And I'll be honest with you, my husband now, but he was my boyfriend at the time, we had a trip scheduled to Hawaii. And we were actually going to be gone at that time during the business trip. So or during the business presentation. And I kind of told him about the opportunity. I said, hey, we're invited to this meeting. And it's with this company, Beachbody. It's been around for 1.5 years. Supposedly it's proven. Well, Beachbody itself had been around for many years, but the network marketing portion of it, so where people can be basically independent contractors for Beachbody, that had only been around for about 1.5 years. So I told him it's relatively new. However, it's been proven. Many people are making a great income. You know, they're making full-time income, working part-time hours. So I approached my boyfriend. I told him all this information, and I kind of let him in on the information that I had been given, which was, 3 things that really caught my eye. Number one, the harder you work, the more money you make, right? So it right there laid out for me, before I was invited to this meeting, I was told it does take work. It takes hard work, but the harder you work, the more money you make. And that really appealed to me because in most positions these days, most jobs that you have, you can work your butt off, but you're only going to make as much as that position that you're in is allowing you to make. And even if you work your butt off and get a raise, it's not going to be like a huge substantial amount unless maybe you go back to school, you get another degree, you go further into debt, That's how we used to think. And that is how the world used to run. And I'm going to stress that, used to run. The world used to run on this bare principle. You got an education, you got hired at a company, you work for 40 years, you get a retirement. And if you're in my generation, or even my parents' generation, we're seeing that people are not retiring. Why? Why aren't they retiring? Because those jobs are very, very hard to come by now. A job that actually provides you a retirement, that you'll be able to actually retire and have enough money to live on, few and far between these days. Few and far between. So, that's how things used to work. And then, if you wanted a raise, then what you do is you go back to school and you get another degree, and that's how life used to work. And if you are in my generation, then you probably know that is what was preached to us, that we in order to make more money, you had to get more education. But you know as well as I do, education is so stinking expensive these days. And if you've ever done any type of personal development, you'll see that the average person, if you read 10 pages a day, the average person can get the equivalent of, I believe it was like a degree every year. If you're just consistent and read 10 pages a day, you listen to audios in the car, it's insane what you can teach yourself nowadays and how much is available at your fingertips. Here I was 9 years ago, and I'm talking to my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, thank goodness. And I was telling him about this opportunity, and of course, it sounded better when the other person was inviting me, and I'm thinking, I'm totally messing this up. I'm not even explaining it right. I just said, look, I'm invited to go to this meeting to check out this business opportunity. It's in health and fitness, which is, legit. Like, you can't fake health, you can't fake fitness, right? There are a lot of companies out there who try, and some of those diets might even work for a short period of time, but Beachbody had been around since the 90s, the mid 90s, and their systems are tried and true. In fact, most people, if you've ever heard of P90X, you know you can't. That's not magic. You actually have to do the program in order to have it work. So when it was explained to me, it says this business opportunity is very much like a workout. If you're not actually doing the workouts, you're not going to get results. So the business there, it's not magic, and it doesn't run itself. There are many, many, many other MLMs out there, multi-level marketing companies, network marketing companies, home-based businesses who the whole pitch is it sells itself and it's so easy and you'll make a killing. And you know what? Those things can be true, but none of that stuff is true if you don't actually put in the work. The cool thing about a business like this is it's based on residual income. And so think of it like a franchise, okay? So McDonald's. Say, for instance, you were to purchase a McDonald's or an Outback Steakhouse, an extremely well-known franchise business. The system is already there. The menu is already there. Everything's already there for you, which is great. Everything is there for you. All you have to do is plug into the system and put it into motion and continue to show up. Now, if you purchased a franchise and you never actually checked in with any of the employees, you never actually touched base with anybody, you never effectively hired staff, you didn't do any of those things, then would your franchise succeed? No. So what Beachbody is, it's an online franchise. You have a piece of the pie. Beachbody has already done all the hard work. They do all the marketing for you. You basically purchase the right to have this online franchise. And so from the very, very, very get-go, I had that mentality of, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to run this like it is my personal business and like it's a real business, meaning I'm going to need business hours. I'm going to need actual, like, to work from an actual list, which these are the reasons why 95% of network marketing companies, actually people who join a company, it doesn't get off the ground because they don't work from a list. They don't make their business hours. Those are like the top two reasons why these things fail. It has nothing else to do with anything else. It's just literally knowing what to do and then scheduling the time to do it. So again, back to my story, talking to my boyfriend, telling him all about this great opportunity. And I told him, look, I don't even know if it's going to work. But I do know this. I know that I'm a couple $100,000 in debt. And I also know that I'm working 60 to 70 hours a week. Many of those hours are taxing on my body because I was doing fitness certifications on the weekends and I was teaching a lot of fitness classes. I think I was teaching 13 classes a week, which I don't know if any of you work out 13 hours a week, but it's intense. That's a lot. That's a lot of exercise. And so I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep up with that at that pace. And although my full-time job, shout out to Shalene and Brett Johnson, my all-time favorite people and mentors and good friends. I love you guys so much. Mwah. You seriously have taught me everything. You taught me how to make a to-do list. You taught me how to be a leader. You taught me how to be a mentor. You taught me how to treat people kindly and just to give the right type of praise. And, just thank you so much. You guys have meant so much to me and you taught me so much by working for you. So that was my full-time job at the time. I worked for Powder Blue Productions. And I'm not saying that I was in debt because they didn't pay me well. They paid me very well. They took great care of me. I'm saying I had hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt because I had made poor choices. I had extended myself on vehicle purchases, furniture purchases, and a house that went upside down in the crash of 2008. If you owned a house in 2008, you know what happened to the marketplace. So that is just, that's basically where I was coming from. So I told my boyfriend, look, I feel so weird saying boyfriend because he's my husband now. But I said, look, I don't know if this is going to work. And I don't even know if I could do this because I already work so much. I don't know when I'm going to have the time. I guess I'm going to have to work like when I'm driving, and I'm going to have to work, on my lunch break, and I'm going to have to work on the weekends. Like, that I'm not doing fitness certifications. Like, that's when I'm going to have to work. And if I can just carve an hour out of every day, I was told if you can just work an hour a day, you will make huge strides in your business. And although I didn't really believe it, I said, okay, I'll do it, because the people who'd been in the business for a year and a half before me had done that. They were making six figures by working 1 to 2 hours per day strictly on their Beachbody business, but doing very focused activities. And so I knew, I was like, hey, if that's average, if the average person, which was another fact that I was told, the average earnings of somebody who had 8 people on their team, the average earnings of them, those people, was about $20,000 a year. And my ears perked up. That might not seem a lot to you. That might not seem like a lot to you. But let me say again, that was the average earnings of somebody with that many people on their team. And I thought to myself, I know at least 8 people who need to get out of debt, either get out of debt or lose weight or improve their health. I know at least 8 people who need that. So could I possibly be average in this business and earn $20,000 this year? And the answer to that question was, yeah, I could totally be average. Of course, I'm going to try to be above average, which I believe in the first 6 months, we were able to make $30,000 in the first 6 months. And that was because I busted my butt. And over the next 2 years, I was able to go from all that debt, which I did short sell my house, so I didn't pay off every single penny of that debt. Some of it came off with, like the short sale and all that stuff. But at least $50,000 of credit card debt, and then all of the other property debt. I have not to date calculated that. I'm sure I would be absolutely floored if I added that up. Every single one. I never filed for bankruptcy, which is what I thought I was going to have to do. Every single penny of that credit card debt was paid off from Beachbody money. Every time I got a check, I made a payment to my credit card that had the highest APR. And then I went to the next credit card that had the highest APR. And I just paid it down. So 2 years later, completely debt-free. And making, at the time, 4 times at my little tiny Beachbody business that I worked 10 hours a week, what I was making with my full-time income. Crazy. I thought to myself, is this even possible? Is this even real? But the answer is yes. Because the majority of people don't actually go for something like this. The majority of people don't believe in themselves enough to go for it. And I didn't even believe in myself this much, but you know what? My mentor said, you can do this. And the evidence showed me that other people did it, so why not me? So 9 years later, I'm so glad that I didn't listen to those negative voices in my head. I'm so glad I didn't listen to the naysayers. People in my family, some people in my family still don't believe in what I can't say anything except for my husband and I work from home part-time so that we can be full-time parents to our kids. And we work when we want, where we want. We could go on vacation. We could move if we wanted to. We could pick up and leave. I mean, we're not going to. Don't worry. If my family members are out there watching, don't worry. We're not planning on leaving you. But we don't have to be dictated by a schedule. We don't have to be dictated by a boss. My older son has been sick for the last 3 days, and I didn't have to ask for time off work. This is our life. This is our life. And we can work when we want, and we can work as hard as we want, and the harder we work, the more money we make. And that's how it is. We have retirement plans. I'm not saying this because I want to brag, you guys. I want to say this because, something like this doesn't happen overnight. And I think the first month I made just a couple $100, and then the next month I made a couple $100, and then the next month I made a couple $100. But what happened was it slowly started to climb. And so I wanted to, here, let me draw a little picture for you. I started to bring up the idea of residual income earlier. And residual income is this. All right. So here's my little visual aid for you. I'll use a marker so it's easier to see. Residual income is this. You have these 2 quadrants, right? One is time, and the other is money. Okay? So I'm hoping that this comes out because this will be reversed. Yeah, so that should be good. So one is time and one is money. So in the beginning, the time is on top, and the money's on the bottom. So if each one of these represents a year, okay, so I'll try to draw upside down. Let's see how talented I am. Each one of these represents like 1 year in the business, right? So this is like a 4-year plan. And this is what I tell most of my, is that going to come off backwards? It probably is. I don't even know. But the top quadrant is time. The bottom quadrant is money. And what I tell all of my people is in the beginning, this might be backwards, but that's okay. In the beginning, you have to put in what seems like a lot of time. See how all this time for a little payoff. So in the beginning, I was working 10 hours a week, but that first month I just made a couple $100, right? But as you start to move through the quadrants, you're putting in, it gets a little bit more even. You put in, it still feels like a lot of time, but look, the money's increasing. And then all of a sudden it starts to shift and the balance goes in the favor of the financial end. And it's not to say that you put in less time. I still put in approximately 10 hours a week in my Beachbody business, but we make more money for that because the foundation has been built, because that's solid. And that has nothing to do with me. That has everything to do with how this type of business works. One of my favorite books is Go Pro by Eric Worre. See this? Go Pro by Eric Worre. And he says 7 steps to becoming a network marketing professional. And he talks about like your first year in network marketing, then your third year in network marketing, year 5, year 7. And then by year 7, that's like when you can train other people. That's like really when you legit can train other people how to do this. And you have reached that professional status. And that is, of course, if you're actually working that amount of time. Because there's lots of people who've been in a business like this, but they haven't actually worked it. Do you know what I mean? So this is the type of thing where if you do focused activity, a little bit of time, over 4 years, you could definitely hit that 6-figure earning status, which many of the people on my team, above me, below me, if they have worked a minimum of 10 hours a week consistently for 2 to 4 years, that's typically when they hit that 6-figure earning. But it's not just anything, right? It's not just, oh, today I think I'm just going to post on Facebook for 2 hours. It's specific activity. It's bettering yourself so that you can help other people become better. I hope that makes sense. But this is the type of thing that, gosh, 9 years later, I'm just blown away because in the beginning, my goal was to get out of that debt. And then my next goal, I said, oh my gosh, that happened so quickly, 2 years into the business. So then the next goal of mine was to make enough money so that I could potentially start a family. So that means that somebody was going to have to retire, myself or my husband or my parents, right? Somebody was going to have to retire. So that became my next goal. And then once I achieved that, a couple years later, my next goal became, okay, this is great. My husband and I, we were able to stop working. He stopped first and I left my job. So I kind of hung in there until I had to go. But then the next goal came and I was like, okay, what's now? What now? What do I get to do now with this awesome opportunity? And I was like, it's simple. I want to free other people from that daily grind. I want to free other people. Like if I can remember back 9 years ago, the stress, how hard life was. Like I remember how exhausted I was all the time. I remember like not having any time for my family. I did nothing. Like I didn't have any friends really outside of my work. Because that was it. I completely 100% dedicated myself to getting out of that debt. And so 9 years ago, I was like, I hardly have money to buy food every week. So what I need to do is I have to focus every minute that I can on getting out of this situation. And so if I wasn't working, and I was picking up odd shifts, anything I possibly could to earn money. And if it didn't earn me money, then I didn't do it. And I gave up a lot of things. I gave up a lot of hobbies. I lost a lot of friends during that time. Some people just don't understand when you're like, I have to focus on my business. I can't go out for girls' night. I can't hang out. Some people don't understand. But the people who are near and dear to me and like get me and are important to me, they understood that and they stuck it out with me. So that was 9 years ago, stressed out to the max, like not really sleeping, having like crazy insomnia because of all these things going on in my head and all the debt and my phone ringing off the hook, debt collectors, things getting repossessed. Just, yeah, I really didn't have a life. Like I said, on the weekends, I would, my boyfriend, who is my husband now, he would like hang out on Saturdays and Sundays and wait for me. He's like, you ready to go to the beach yet? I'm like, okay, wait, in 4 hours. I have to get this focus time done. And then we'll go to the beach at noon. And then I'll hang out for a couple hours. And then I'm coming right back. And I gotta get down, do a couple more hours. And he was so great because he would, cook dinner and he would play with the dog and do what needed to be done so that I could get this focused work done. And now he works side by side with me. It's crazy. It's crazy. He handles all of our financials. He even does a lot of recruiting as well because he's come around. And trust me, in the beginning, he did not want to be a part of this. He was like, I just don't want to get burned. He did not want to be a part of it. It took me a good 9 months or so. And then I finally said, look, can I please just sign you up as a coach on my team? And I'm so glad that I did. Of course, he's one of my diamonds now, but it's just so funny. It's so funny how much has changed in 9 years, from working 60 to 70 hours a week to like 10 hours a week and being a full-time mom and, vacationing and all that stuff. And like I said, I'm not bragging. I want you to believe that it's true for you. My why has changed from getting out of debt to, okay, now it's time for me to retire so that we could start a family, to, okay, now that we've achieved that, what's next? You guys, sorry, I get so emotional. Now that we achieved that, like, what's next? What's the next thing? The next thing was I want other people to experience that peace. I really do. Like, I don't get upset when somebody doesn't want to come into the business with me anymore. Like, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not trying to make a quick buck. Like, I want people who like legit want this, who know in their hearts that there's something bigger for them, that they're a go-getter. In your heart, if you could be doing more, in your heart, if there are people in your life that you could be helping, and that if there's like something on the list that needs to get done, then you're the person to do it, right? You're the one who steps up. You were probably the person in school that when you got a group project, you were like always the person doing the brunt of the work. You're the person who people count on because you're reliable. If you're that person, this type of business is so flippin' perfect for you. I can't even tell you, because if you can work from a list, you can make this happen. If you can work from a list, you can make this happen. And that's what I really, really love doing these days. I love to help people believe in themselves again, number one, but number two, like really start to make a difference. I love getting text messages and messages from people on my team who are like, I retired, I've been able to, give up my job, I put in my 2 weeks notice, whatever the case may be. That makes me so happy. It makes me so happy that we're able to help people have financial peace, have peace of mind, have less stress, and have the peace of knowing that they're doing something that is healthy for them and that is going to help them in the long run. There's nothing that replaces that. In my mind, nothing. Nothing replaces that. And that's what I love to do now. I like to work with people who are like-minded, who are positive, but you know what? You're just too busy and you want to do less, but you need to have more. and you want more time, and you want more money, and you want more, better health, and you want more positivity, and you want to have more fun. That's been my goal this last year is, I want to enjoy my kids more. I want to do less. I want to have more fun with my life. So we've been scheduling in like more fun days, like trips to Disney, and we scheduled some last minute vacations, and I am so excited. I'm so excited to live this life because we only get one, and I'm excited that I get to be the boss of that. So you don't have to live like next door to the person who brings you into the network marketing company that you choose. You don't have to live next door to that person. You can simply, that's what the internet's for, guys. We're not restricted by location anymore. And that's another reason why having an online business flippin' rocks. So happy 9 years to you too, Christine. One of the best days of my life. Kind of knew that there was something about being in a group that was like, there was going to be magic there. And so since that first meeting, I do my absolute best to be at every single event possible that Beachbody has, that Christine has with Platinum Presenters, and our quarterly meetings too. Christine, I couldn't have done this without you and your fearless leadership and the people, the mentors that you brought in to train us initially. Shout out to Craig Holiday if you're out there, one of my awesome mentors. Of course, Brett and Shalene, I mentioned you earlier, and a shout out to you guys too. And my mentors from afar, Eric Worre, Brian Tracy, Les Brown. Oh, these people, just at Darren Hardy, should all get my heart. So happy 9 years, especially if you were there with us at that live meeting, May 31st. Oh my gosh. Happy 9 years, you guys. I love you all. And have a beautiful rest of your day. By the way, if you are watching this and you are not yet a Beachbody coach, but you've been thinking about, you know what, I need to make some extra money, or I need to get out of debt, or I need something else in my life, or I need some positivity in my life, or every day I go to work and it just sucks the life out of me, then please send me a message, because let's talk. And I promise you, like I said, I don't beg people to do this. You do this if you want to do this. That's totally cool with me. And you got to find the right fit, but let's have a conversation. So feel free, shoot me a message, and thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.